Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here and welcome to a new video for this week. Today is actually our Sunday vlog that I didn't have up last week, mainly because it was Father's Day here in the UK. I'm not quite sure whether Father's Day is different from here in America or whatnot, because I know definitely that Mother's Day is, for some particular reason, I'm not too sure why. But it was Father's Day last weekend, so I didn't really have time to upload a vlog or whatever because I was busy spending time with my dad and whatnot. So this week I have a little something different, something that is actually a little bit planned or whatnot. I'm actually going to be doing the Get to Know Me tag, essentially. Sorry, that iPod just made a noise. It's basically like, I don't think it's a fairly new tag or whatever. It's like a fairly, it's been around since about 2014 or whatever, but we've gotten quite a few new subscribers and whatnot since the last kind of question and answer video I did. So I figured instead of me having to like ask you guys for questions, I figured this has a list of like 25 or so questions, and they are basic questions and whatnot. So I figured, why not take the time to like answer them and whatnot and see if maybe any of you guys find them interesting and whatnot. There may be some that I can't actually give the actual information of just because of how sensitive some of the information is and whatnot, but I will do my best to answer all of them. And then if there's any other kind of YouTuber, content creator people who are inspired to do this and whatever, then feel free to do it as well. And if you want, you can tag me in it and say that you got it from me or whatever. You know, one of those things that keeps it going. You don't have to do it anyway. I just thought it would be a little fun thing to do for the Sunday vlog and everything like that, considering we haven't had a question and answer video in ages. So the first one is actually, what is your middle name? I sadly can't give this out on YouTube. You could probably explain why, but whatever. But I do have a middle name. My middle name, I guess it's not, I guess I can kind of like hint at what it is or whatever. My middle name is actually a precious metal, funnily enough, so take that what you will. What is your favourite colour? I think people would think pink, obviously, because of the pink hair, but my favourite colour is actually purple. In some of the segments of this awesome galaxy wallpaper you see here, my favourite colour is actually purple. My hair was purple at one point, but as I explained in like the hair dyeing video and whatnot, but my hair was purple, but when it faded it turned kind of a greenish blue colour, which was really, really weird to look at. It was like a galaxy was decaying on my head, so I had to change my hair colour or whatever. But yeah, purple is definitely my favourite colour. Who was your first best friend? Gosh, this is like so hard or whatever, because if you're talking about my first best friend, it probably wouldn't have been until like I had a proper best friend until high school, which sounds really, really bad considering that you start high school at like the age of 12. So like for 12 years of my life I didn't consider anyone being my best friend, but it was that weird way where it was like, for the majority of my early childhood I grew up in a street where there was no children. Sadly, I was literally the only child in the entire street, and when you're small and there's no kids about, you feel very lonely, don't you? You just feel so lonely. There's nobody to play with. The only time I would ever have kids to play with was if I was staying at my grandmother's house, because she lived in a street full of kids. So that was the only time I ever got to play with any other children. So until high school, it was about the time I had my first best friend. His name is Reese. You've probably heard me talk about him a couple of times and whatnot. He's been like my best friend all the way to high school. We're still really good friends now. He normally does my hair quite often or not, but he's actually moving to Spain quite soon, which is going to break my heart. I'm going to lose my best friend, but he's only going away for a year, so hopefully he'll come back and we can renew our passionate friendship through cocktails and whatnot. Probably the most thing that we do all the time and everything like that. What is the next question? How tall are you? I don't actually have a specific idea how tall I am. If you've seen me in real life, you will know I am incredibly short. If you've seen me compared to other people, you'll know I am incredibly short. I would say, I think I'm just over 5 feet. Or is that the correct measurement? I don't know. I am very short. I just know that. I remember back in high school, they measured your height for like health assignments and whatnot in centimeters. I believe the last time I was measured there, I was like 151 centimeters. So that's like 1.5 meters, which I believe isn't very tall at all. It's not very tall at all. So yeah, I am very, very short if you've ever seen me. Cats or dogs for number 5 here? Dogs. I have to say I adore dogs more than cats. Hence why I have dogs as pets and why I'm just utterly obsessed with dogs. I mean, where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is. I am obsessed with dogs and everything, and Pokemon relating to dogs and everything like that. So yeah, I definitely prefer dogs than cats. Cats seem to have a weird relationship with me. They don't really like me all that much. There's a lot of cats in my neighborhood, and I tried to pet them and everything like that, but they just blank me. They're just like, no, stay away. So no, sadly the relationship with cats isn't going too well. Next up, funniest moment throughout school. I think it would have to be in high school yet again. There was a moment where in our high school, in our 5th and 6th year, they put on a show at the end of the year for those years specifically. It was like called, it It was like a big kind of musical thing where it's like we each had like three houses. Technically, it's not like Harry Potter. We had three houses. It was like Barclay, Greg, and Colville, and the three houses would compete in like a kind of musical competition, whatever. We would each have like a theme, and we would all be performing and dancing to songs of that theme, and then there would be judges, and they would vote the winner, and they would be like the winner for the year. So, but that was mainly to happen at the like end of your exams, but the time in between your exams finishing and end of term actually happening. So in that space between, we would rehearse and all that stuff, and it was like a constant 2 weeks. You'd be like 10, maybe even 14 hours just dancing and singing till your like throat was dying and everything like that. But there was a point where like all our songs were performed by a live band for each house or whatever, so we had a live band to practice with. There's a point where I think it was like maybe towards the end of the first week, I was utterly so exhausted from all the dancing and that, because I'm not a really physical person. Like, I'm not out there exercising all the time and whatnot, so I was just so exhausted. I fell asleep next to a live drum kit. Literally, the guy is like drumming away, playing the instruments, whatever. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I am literally lying right next to the drum kit, fast asleep. People thought I was unconscious at one point, or that I had slipped into a coma. So then I had to be sent home because apparently people thought I had literally just died next to this drum kit. It was actually quite embarrassing. Like, they said that I slept through a full hour of them rehearsing with this drum kit, and I hadn't stirred once. I don't even remember it. I just remember being woken up and called, "You gotta go home. Like, you're just lying there. We think you're dead." It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going home. So yeah, I did eventually recover and I got better sleep, but that was like one of the funniest moments or whatever. How many countries have you visited? Sadly, I've not really visited very many countries. I've never left Europe, which is super, super sad. So, like, the only kind of places I've been to is, I've been to England, which I do count as a separate country. I've been to England, I've been to Spain, you know, I've been to France, I've been to Italy briefly, but, like, it wasn't for very long. It was, like, on a cruise ship, and I ended up getting sunburn on the cruise ship, so I wasn't very eager to be walking about Italy and whatnot. So, technically, I've only really been to, like, 4 different countries, I would say. I am planning, obviously, to go to Switzerland in September, so I'm very excited to go there. And I say, fingers crossed, maybe either the end of this year or the start of next year, I want to finally go to America. I really, really want to go, because I want to go to New York, and I want to see all the sights and everything like that. Big goals, big goals. And if there's any, like, places in, like, New York or somewhere like that, I love Broadway, so I'd love to go to Broadway. But you need to hit me up if you know any card game shops in New York in particular. Let me know, because I might go there one day. Next up, are you in or have you gone to college? I think you guys all know this, but I previously studied 4 years at a university for journalism, and I got my BA in journalism. I got my degree and everything like that. Sadly, it hasn't really done too much more for me in regards to like getting jobs and whatnot, but fingers crossed we'll get there one day. We'll get there. I have faith. I have all the faith. What was your favourite / worst subject in high school? Right, my favourite subject would have to be media studies, because mainly the whole point of that class was you watched a movie, you analysed it, you wrote an essay about it, job's a good one. The only problem is that you would have to watch the same film countless times over and over again. So we watched like Batman, was it Batman Forever? It wasn't Batman Forever, was it? Or The Dark Knight, it was The Dark Knight. We watched that several times. We watched The Zodiac, you know, the one with, what's his name? Mark Ruffalo? Is it Mark Ruffalo? I'm pretty sure it's Mark Ruffalo. That one about the Zodiac killer and whatnot, we literally watched those, like, those 2 films constantly, and those were the films I had to write my assignment on for my exam. And then the one that was my least good at, I would have to be biology, mainly because I never did any work for biology. I got to a point in the year where I was just like, I'm not learning anything, I need to stop. So in the process of that, I ended up just bringing in my art book, my sketchbook, for every single biology class, and I just drew. I just doodled whatever random thing came into my head and doodled, and the teacher didn't care. He like, you know, sometimes you'd think, oh, the teacher would want you to try and like understand, but he just knew that I just wasn't getting it. I just wasn't understanding the biology. And I was good with the things that had to do with animals. As soon as we started talking about things with plants, I was just like, I switched off. I was just like, nah, don't care about the plants. So I literally just drew for like the second half of like that biology year. I just doodled and I drew, and he didn't care. He would come up to me and say, oh, what you're drawing today? And I'd be like, I'm deciding to draw the whole class as Greek gods. He's like, good stuff there. He never cared. He never once cared. He was like my favourite teacher, mainly because he didn't make me do any work. And, you know, I subsequently failed that exam, but who cares, because I wasn't really caring about biology at that point. What is your favourite drink? My absolute favourite drink of all time would have to be a good old cup of tea. A nice little tea to soothe the throat, to help you get that energy down when you're editing videos, or you're trying to make a deck list, or all those random things, or you're powering through Persona 5. Favourite drink would have to be a cup of tea. Second to that, it would have to be cola. Literally, I am so addicted to both tea and cola. It's my go-to choice of cold drink is cola. Go-to choice of hot drink is tea. Those are my two essential drinks. I have to admit. What is your favorite animal? I've juxtaposed. I have flip-flopped between my favorite animal for the longest of years. Like when I was 12, I'm pretty sure my favorite animal was a capybara, but mainly because I liked saying that word. It was capybara, capybara. I really liked it. I think then my second favorite was an axolotl, again because it had a silly name and also because it was a really cute animal. And I was like, it's adorable. But I think actually still dogs would have to be my favorite animal. Other than snakes, I really like snakes. I don't know why. I really love watching videos of just people taking care of snakes, just talking about them, or just discussing their snakes and whatnot. I don't know why. I don't think I'd be able to ever look after a snake because I feel like it's such a huge responsibility weighing down on your shoulders. And a dog is bad enough because it's a high energetic thing, but a snake is literally, it needs a warm tank, it needs the right food, it needs the right bedding. At least a dog is fairly simple to take care of, even though it needs a lot of attention. I feel I wouldn't be able to take care of a snake. I'd be I could maybe look after a snake for an hour or two. I don't think I could actually keep one. I do love snakes, so snakes are really fascinating. I just love just researching things about snakes or just watching videos of snakes and people looking after them because it's awesome. This is what is your favorite perfume? I don't really have a favorite perfume. I'm not one of those girls that obsesses about perfume ever. I always get the one bottle of perfume that I get for Christmas, and it literally can last me the entire year. I use it that sparingly. It's insane. People will say, "Oh, what perfume are you wearing?" And I literally wouldn't be able to tell them because I couldn't remember the name of the bottle or whatever. I just say, "Oh, you know that new one?" Because I literally wouldn't know. Tea or coffee? Well, I've kind of already answered this question already. It's tea. Tea, absolutely. I tried coffee once, and I absolutely hated it, and never again would I ever drink coffee. When would you, or have you, named your children? I used to always joke for the longest time that I would actually name my child, no matter if it was a boy or a girl, Riley. And the reason for this is because in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the person who uses Lucario and gives you the Viola egg is called Riley. And then I discovered Riley is actually a unisex name, so you can use it for boys or girls. So I would always say, Riley is going to be my child's name. And he's like, oh, is that for a boy or a girl? And I'd just be both. I wouldn't care that, don't know whether I would still keep that, but I always, my go-to name would be Riley. I quite like that. What sports do you play, have you played? I am not a really sporty person. I am not a very energetic, well, I feel I am energetic, but I'm more energetic in terms of creativity as opposed to physical activities. I remember in school, I used to play netball, and then I dropped that. I used to play badminton, and then I dropped that. And I think for a brief period of time, I did taekwondo, and then I think I dropped when I got to about green belt. I think I got to a green belt and then I dropped because literally I was just I'm getting bullied by all these other black belts and that. I'm fed up. I need to drop this. So I'm not really a very sporty person, unfortunately. What is your favorite book? Oh, this is a tough one. This is a really, really tough one. I'd have to say my favorite book of all time is Noughts and Crosses by, I think her name is Mallory Blackman, or is it Blackman, I think it is, because I studied this book in particular for English. It was because at one point in English it was everyone had to pick a book, and it would be the whole, they would have to create a whole case study surrounding the book, and you'd have to pick a topic of debate in terms of the book or whatever. And because of this, you'd end up having to read the book constantly, over and over again, making notes every single way. And I fell in love with the book. I think it's part of a trilogy or a quadrilogy, whatever you call a 4-part series or whatever of a book series, but I read that book so much. It was really I was maybe 16, 15 when I was reading that, and it was I was just so engrossed and I was so immersed in all these characters and whatnot. If you've never read the book, it's kind of set in this, I wouldn't say an alternate universe, but a different look in our world where it's all about racism and whatnot. It's basically about how people who are black are in power, and it's people who are white who are basically being stereotyped and hated and prejudiced against. It's basically a whole a racial commentary or whatever on it, and the roles are reversed, and there's a lot more extremes in that universe or whatever. I also like it because one of the main characters is I don't know if it's Persephone or Persephone, however you, but she's named after a Greek goddess, whatever, and she's just so naive to all the racism or whatever that's going on around her, and she's falling in love with this white guy, and he's from this really impoverished family and whatnot, and he's just trying to get by, and there's hints of terrorism at points, whatever, but it's a really engaging and engrossing story, and I would highly recommend it if you guys ever wanted to read it. It's really, really interesting. I adore that book and series. What are some of your favourite YouTubers, God? Favorite YouTubers, I've got so many. I have so many, like, in terms of, like, it's hard to explain. So, like, I like, the really, really popular ones. Like, I like Markiplier, I like Jacksepticeye, I like Dan and Phil, those kind of guys. I really, like, enjoy their videos. And then on the plus side, I also enjoy a lot of other Force of Will YouTuber content, so I enjoy Negative Legend. He's an awesome guy. He actually did my channel banner for me. He's a sound dude. I like Red Zone Rogue. He's awesome. I really enjoy some of his recent stuff he's done with the bargain buys, whatever, of boosters packs and everything like that. I like Busy Dad. Busy Dad is awesome. J Ruler and Sacred Beats with their podcast. I love those guys. They're all awesome in the Force Will community. Those videos, Goosebud Gaming, they're not solely Force Will, but they do lots of epic videos. Anyone else I'm missing? I can't really think of anyone. Oh, Jake Camille. He does a lot of Pokemon stuff. That I actually need to start watching, because literally the playlist is like, I've got it set to watch, but I've just not had the time actually to like have it on in the background or whatever, because I've been marathoning for Digimon. So I'm just like, I need to finish Digimon first. But yeah, I love a lot of YouTubers, whatever. Literally when I go to my subscribe box and I just see so many videos, whatever, I'm just like, it's going to take me a lifetime to catch up with all these videos. Oh, Razbowski, Dalco, 8-Bit Ryan, who else? Like, oh, there's other people there. Oh, DA Games. I love their music. I love Nate Wants to Battle as well. His music and his video game stuff, whatever. All those people I adore. Like, they're my favourite YouTubers, hands down. What is your favourite movie? My favourite movie of all time would have to be I think it's Shane Acker, 9. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like a really surreal film. It started off as like a student project or whatever, and then he got it into like a full film. It's like a post-apocalyptic thing where like the only living people around are these little dolls, and I think they're called Stitch Punks, and it's like they're like not waging a war, but they're trying to survive in a world that's ravaged by machines that are just trying to destroy all life. If you've never seen it, I would highly recommend it. It is a really good film, absolutely amazing, and the sound score is just perfection. Are you single or taken? I'm currently single. I know previously some people were I did have a boyfriend or whatever, but sadly we split up quite recently and everything. I won't really go into too many details about it because I don't want to like dwell on it too much, but right now I am single for the sake of the question. What's your idea of an ideal first date? Has to be cinema. You have to go to the cinema because that will help you gauge your interest and your similar feelings towards a film. I feel like going to the cinema is like an integral part for any couple. So that way where it's just like if we're not on the same level when enjoying a film, or at least feels like we have a connection or whatever when witnessing this like piece of media, that would be my ideal first date. That would have to be. And obviously if we could go to a noodle place and get ramen, that would also top it as well. Or just go somewhere with ice cream or somewhere like that. How many girlfriends / boyfriends have you had? I have had 2 boyfriends and 1 girlfriend, and since at least since I've actually actively had relationships and whatnot. Favorite memory from childhood? Oh, this is a tough one. I think my favorite memory would have to be when I met the author Darren Shan, who, if you've never heard of Darren Shan, he is the author of the not the Vampire Diaries, the saga of Darren Shan and the Demonata. He wrote these brilliant horror teen books or whatever. I actually got to meet him, and he signed a load of my books that I had, and he actually did a selfie with me or whatever where he was like pretending to strangle me. And it's so funny because like I look back in the picture and I'm such a scene goth kid or whatever, because I've got like the kind of purplish brown hair going over one eye. I've got like a t-shirt saying I only bite on the first date or something like that, or something really, really edgy, and I look like I'm trying so hard or whatever, and I laugh all the time, but it was like the most wonderful time ever. He was like such a nice guy, such a brilliant author, and he had such a great in-depth discussion about the books and the manga, the film adaptation, because I'm pretty sure he went on record saying he hated the film adaptation to a point or whatever. He hated it. If I can even speak. Do you speak any different languages, and how well? Literally, I only speak English. I know like a couple of like Scottish or like Gaelic words, but not too many that I can actually recount them off the top of my head. I did take Spanish when I was in high school. Literally, I cannot remember anything. I think I can only remember random words, like I know pollo is chicken. I know that for a hovercraft, it's like un hovercraft. Stupid things like that. I can't actually form a complete sentence in any other language. Do you have any siblings? I do actually. I recently celebrated my little sister's first birthday. This is the very first sibling I've ever had in my whole time of existing at 22 years old. She's recently just turned 1, just this week actually. So very happy birthday to her. I'm a proud big sis. Very proud. I didn't think I would actually get along with like a little child, and then having to confess that it's like you're related to me, because normally I'm not very good with children. I have like a very low tolerance of most children, but for some reason I'm very happy around her. So I'm very glad, because I was afraid I wouldn't like her. Like I was very afraid that I wouldn't get along. I mean, she is a baby, so it's not like we could fall out or anything like that. But like I adore her. I love her so very much. Actually, near the end of this, actually. So, how would you describe your fashion sense? It's like, I like to wear my skinny jeans. I like to wear tops that have geeky things on them or pretty patterns on them and everything like that. I'm not a really big fan of dresses. I do have a couple of dresses or whatever that I would wear, whether only if the weather was really nice or if it was a very nice occasion. I like have loads of like geeky hoodies and like varsity or jackets and stuff like that. So I'd say that I'm very casual. I am very geeky. If I like t-shirts and jeans and like stick on a pair of Vans or something like that, I want to look nice, but in that way where it's just like I am expressing who I am through my niceness, if that makes any sense. What is your favourite restaurant? I'd have to say my favourite restaurant of all time had to be TGI Fridays. It was the best place in the world, literally. I only go there on like very special occasions, like my birthday or Christmas or like New Year or something like that. I absolutely adore it. I love the cocktails in there. The cocktails are amazing. Purple Rain was my first choice of cocktail. I always get like the Jack Daniel's chicken because it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like the best food ever, and I miss it so much. It's been such a long time since I've actually been there. This is like, I hope there's a special occasion coming up where I can actually go there. It's my favourite food ever. What are some of your favourite TV shows? Oh god, TV shows. It's funny, I like a lot of what people consider trash TV shows. So like those ones where it's like, oh, you can binge watch them, but you wouldn't really say that you're an avid fan of them because you're kind of scared of what other people think. So like I'm addicted to watching things like the Jeremy Kyle show, like Car Crash TV essentially. People argue. I don't know why I like to see that. Like I watch Hoarders for some reason. I don't know why I'm obsessed with that. I don't know. I was just like the kind of like I want to get into people's minds and see what like pushes them to the brink of like literally their whole house about to fall down on top of them. I do love Catfish. Catfish, the TV show, is a favourite of mine because I adore Nathan Max and I adore all their other work that they've gone into as filmmakers and directors and everything like that. Is there anything else I enjoy? I like game shows and stuff. Like I like The Crystal Maze. I like back when I was a kid, I loved like Jungle Run. If you've ever seen Jungle Run, I love Trapped. Things like that. It was like, oh, I absolutely adored it. Those were kind of TV shows that I really enjoyed when, like, at that time as well, and then recently. Mac or PC? I currently am favouring towards PC. When I was in university, the only computers they had were Macs, and it was absolutely painful because literally I don't have a Mac myself, so whenever I was like saving files or whatever, sometimes my files wouldn't open when I was in the university, so I could write up a whole essay or whatever, but then the Mac wouldn't recognise it or whatever because they'd be like, oh, it's a different file format or it's a different word format or something like that because it's like going from PC to Mac. Sometimes I wouldn't have the problem, but other times I'd just be like, are you kidding me right now? So literally sometimes it would just be an utter pain in order to transfer stuff over or like get used to like the keyboard of a Mac, because it's obviously different from a PC, but I definitely prefer PC over Mac. What phone do you have? Well, the phone currently is recording this, so I sadly can't show you what it is, but it's a Sony Xperia XZ or ZX. I'm pretty sure it's XZ. It's quite a recent phone that I've got. I got it last year, I believe. Yeah, I got it last year. It's a lot nicer for recording videos and whatnot. Sadly, I can't edit really on the phone because that's one thing that my HTC, which is my old phone here, which had the awesome Team Mystic cover on it, which is still sitting here gathering dust. I should really maybe try and trade this in or whatever for parts and everything like that. But that was my old phone. I really like that one because it let me edit some of the things on my phone before I went to edit them on my computer. Sadly, this Xperia doesn't really have that option, but I still like it. The camera's good. The memory's good on it. It's got good battery life and everything. So I'm pretty happy with that. And the last one is tell us one of your bad habits. Bad habits. I'm trying to think of bad habits. I guess I ramble a lot. I guess I talk really quickly for some people. Maybe some people like kind of get the wrong impression about me sometimes, where it's just like I talk a lot, but then sometimes I can just be dead quiet and shy. So it's like I'm not quite an introvert. I'm not quite an extrovert. Is that the right word? Extrovert? Yeah. I'm not quite sure. So, like, I'm kind of an in-between stage. Sometimes I can be totally quiet and just want to be left alone and in my little own shell. And other times I just want to talk and, like, get to know people and, like, get all excited and stuff like that. So I'm just, like, in a weird in-between and whatnot. So I guess that'd be a wee bit of a bad habit, is that I'm quite I'm flip-flopping between all the different things that I'm like. It's like, sometimes I can be really bubbly in that, and then sometimes I can just be, like, really quiet and reserved and just be like, I don't want to look you in the eye. Just don't look at me. Don't look at me. But most of the time I am like quite a nice person or whatever. And usually if I'm only in a really, really bad mood, I'll just be like, don't want to talk to you. Literally do not want to talk to you. I've had days like that where I've been in like the utter worst mood and everything like that. I just don't want to talk to anyone. But then that is actually it for that. I think that's the last question, isn't it? Yeah, that is the last question. So that is the last question, guys. I will post a link to the page where I found this questionnaire or tag whatever if any of you guys are interested in doing it yourself. If you have any extra questions that you'd actually like to ask me, then feel free to drop them in the comment section below and I can answer them to and reply there. It can be anything about me or about my card games that I play and all this stuff, whatever. Just because I feel like we've gotten quite a lot of new subscribers and everything. We're really close to 500 and I will be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway once we get there. So keep your eye on that, and if you want to try and bump it up closer, be sure to share the videos and whatnot. Like them, comment. I'd just love to hear what you guys have to say and any recommendations or any ideas you think would be enjoyable for the channel. I would love to hear it from you guys. So until next time everybody, I will see you all later.